What's good, guys? So I just took a break from watching both of the YCS Udirect, and the 3v3 just to make this video. I want to quickly talk about why the Shaddoll structure deck is just so freaking good. Why is this thing back? Why is it just so crazy? Few reasons why. Okay, first thing being, Construct is back, and from everything that I see from all the games that I'm watching on stream, they literally summon Construct like 3 times in a turn. They'll summon it once by fusing into it, once by bringing it from the banish pile, and once from fusing again. And it's just so crazy that each time, like none of his effects, because it's an old card, none of these effects are once per turn. Let me just go through the effects. Must first be fusion summon. If this card is special summoned, you can send one Shaddoll card from your deck to the graveyard at the start of the damage step. If this card battles a special summon monster, destroy that monster. It's just free effects. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Shaddoll spell and trap card in your graveyard, add it to your hand. It's so crazy. At first I was just like, oh, this card's not that good because I didn't even play it in play Shadolls during that form. I didn't play the game in that format. But man, I can see why this card was banned. Literally triggering this card 3 times, adding 2 cards back. This card's nuts, and this is one of the biggest reasons why the Shaddoll deck is just so crazy. But I want to go through a few other reasons that people really aren't talking about. Okay, so in the last set, Ignition Assault, we got some new Link monsters. Cross Sheep, holy shit. I thought this was gonna be okay in like Invoked and stuff, and now Invoked is played together with Shaddoll to create this like mixture of like this amazing crazy deck. The main effect, first thing, it's a generic Link 2, very easy to make, any deck can make it. The main effect that I think is the crazy effect is the fusion effect. The other effects do see some play, but the fusion effect is wild. You can, after you fusion summon, you can special summon one level 4 or lower monster from your graveyard. And why is this crazy? In the Invoke deck, like, you can make a fusion, one of, like a Caliga, and just revive it back when you make one of your Shaddoll fusions. So that's crazy. But just in general, with the Shaddoll cards, you just revive materials back, fuse them away, and start triggering their effects. If this card sticks, or if you're in like a grind game and you start fusion summoning while this card's on the field, it's so wild. Like, you can just bring level 4 Shaddoll monsters back, or any monster back. It's like no restrictions, just level 4 or lower. Bring monsters back, make Dweller, make whatever, use them as material. I think Cross Sheep literally just took this deck to the next level. Any fusion decks, but this deck specifically with the Invoked mixture, it's just so wild, the things that I'm seeing on stream right now, and it's just like, holy shit, like, I want to play this deck now. This deck is crazy. Cross Sheep, another card. I want to talk about another Link monster that came out in an Ignition Assault. I briefly talked about this before. Gravity Controller. We finally get to see Gravity Controller abused before Master Rule 5 kicks in, and maybe this card will lose a little bit of its steam. But this card is a Link 1. Whenever you see a Link 1, it always has potential. Link 1s are the craziest cards in the game. So the effect cannot be used as Link material the turn it's Link summon. Fine. This card in the extra monster zone cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster in the main monster zone. At the start of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster in the extra monster zone, you can return both that opponent's monster and this card to the deck. Why is this crazy? It just sounds very, very like cool effect, removal, spot removal. So this is crazy because I don't know if you guys know, but all the Shaddoll fusion monsters, not just this one, all of them have effects to either add spells and traps from their graveyard back to your hand, or the new one can discard add any Shaddoll card from your deck to your hand, and then you discard a card. This is just so whenever these cards go, whenever any of the fusions go to graveyard, they just trigger effects, and now you don't need to like keep linking into like a different monster to like. You don't need to have another monster and keep going up in the link climbing to get the effects going. You could just summon Construct, trigger Construct's effect, send a card, trigger all the Shaddolls that you just sent to the graveyard, get all those effects, and then you make Gravity Controller, add back the fusion, and now you have the fusion ready, and you can just set the fusion if it's El Shaddoll fusion, and have a window on the opponent's turn. It's just so wild how good this card is. This card's just good, and not only that, in like the mirror match, it's just generic spot removal. You need an easy way to get rid of the Shaddoll monsters without triggering them, the Shaddoll fusion monsters, and this card can just shuffle them back. This card's wild, and it's a freaking dark, so when you get the El Shaddoll fusion back and you set it, you just need any other Shaddoll monster and you have your window. So that's another reason. These two new Link monsters, both Cross Sheep and Gravity Controller, literally take this deck to the next level. The final reason why I really think Shaddolls is just so crazy, so popular. Winda and Kaliga, just floodgate monsters. Floodgate monsters are always gonna be in this game. Floodgate monsters are always gonna be the bane of any deck's existence. Combo decks literally have no Spiral. You think Spiral can play out of a Winda and Kaliga? They literally can't. They have no main deck outs. Even post side, they better see a Dark Ruler no more, or else it's almost impossible to out these cards. I just like this deck is so crazy. This is almost, we lost Colossus in this previous ban list, but now we have this new structure deck that came out that had kind of is doing the same thing. They're summoning these floodgate monsters, and instead of answering Sky Striker, Mobilize, Engage, now we just have to answer the combo decks that are so wild, like Spiral, from special summoning or activating effects. It's literally the same like concept. Colossus stopped Engage, now you have Winda and Kaliga to stop Spirals from spamming the field, summoning Helix, all those things. So just to recap, Construct coming back 2-3, insane, triggered infinite times. The things I'm seeing, like, I remember, like, I was testing this last week, and somebody summoned this out of the banish pile, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, the new Shaddoll monsters can summon, and when they flipped up, they can summon from the banish pile. I was like, oh, this is crazy, and it triggers, and I had to read it, like, 3 times. I was like, oh, there has to be a once per turn somewhere in this. There is not any once per turn here. Cross Sheep and Gravity Controller. Ignition Assault, common and rare. So cool. Deck is relatively inexpensive, except for, like, the invoke cards really spiking in price. But you could even play it. I honestly think you could play this deck like pure and it's still kind of good. But Cross Sheep helping this deck so much. Gravity Controller just adding a new dimension. Not only do you summon a monster that can out any monster, and he himself is very hard to out. He seems very easy to out, but he cannot be destroyed by a battle by any monsters in the main monster zone. And when I go to attack him with one of my extra deck monsters, it gets shuffled back. So you better have a non-target, like a non-destruction way to get rid of him. So I think Gravity Control is insane, and it was a dark arrow down. Everything just comes perfectly for this deck. And then the boss monsters, the floodgate monsters, they've always been around. We've always had these, but it's just now coming to fruition with these cards. These are taking the spot of Colossus from last format. These cards are really insane. Guys, let me know if there's any other things I missed, but these are some of the reasons why I think the Shaddoll deck is just seeing so much play. I'm gonna get back to watching this 3v3 YCS. It's really cool, and let me know. Stay tuned. I'll give you more initial thoughts if I see anything else cool on the stream. But guys, let me know. Subscribe. Stay tuned.